So I wrote a lot for a long time, got a lot of critique, tried as much as possible to get as much critique as possible on everything that I wrote so that I could grow and improve. And then in 2009, I published what I consider my debut, which is Phoenix, which is a novella. It is a zombie novella, and it is deeply flawed, but it's still available. So if you want to read like where it all began, you can check it out. It's still on my Amazon. Someday maybe I'll revamp this cover. But anyway, obviously going back in it, you can see where my writing like started from, quote unquote, in my career and where it's growing to. However, after Phoenix, which I didn't really market, didn't really do anything with, I just kind of put it out there, I went back to the grind and I went back to practicing even more, and I didn't publish anything for a long time until I decided to restart my career, because I had been querying and then I was just really not impressed with the querying process, with that whole thing. Make of that information what you will. People are probably going to judge me for that. But whatever, I decided I wanted to try and kick off the self-publishing leg of my writing journey. And so in 2020, I published this, The Wolf and the Hawk. It is a fantasy romance. I decided to start with a fantasy romance because romance is popular. So I was like, what better way to kick off my writing career, such as it is, with a romance. And so far this is my most read and most reviewed book, so that's good. I guess it kind of worked. But this is also, fun fact, a complete revamp of a book that I wrote during that grinding and leveling up process, so that's cool. After that, I revamped another book that I had written earlier and published it. This is Boots. It is a fairy tale retelling. I have a fondness for fairy tale retellings, so this one came out next. And then in 2020, while I was publishing The Wolf and the Hawk, I was also writing what I consider my pride and joy, my book baby, Adventurer Mage, book 2 of this series, coming out this year, 2025. So in 2020, sorry, I was writing this and the sequels while I was publishing The Wolf and the Hawk, and while I was publishing Boots, I was working on this series. And then last year, I published my supernatural thriller novella, Second Floor, kind of going back to my roots with supernatural thriller novellas. We're back, baby. And this year I intend to put out, like I said, the sequel to Adventurer Mage. And then next year, I don't know what it's going to be, but it's going to be good. But anyway, before I've talked too long for any of these platforms that like short form things, this was my writing journey. Let me know about yours in the comments below.